The galaxy had never seen anything like it. A ship so big, so powerful, and so advanced that even the stars seemed to hold their breath. The Titan Reaper was the pride of the Zortal Empire. It was built over 300 years in secret, hidden inside a dying star system. Made from living metal, powered by dark matter, and guided by the most advanced AI ever created, it was meant to end all wars. Billions of beings watched the launch from across the galaxy. Some waited in fear, others in awe. The Zortal High Council stood proudly on their command platform. Everything was ready. The countdown began. The sky above the military world of Jexon 4 shimmered as the Titan Reaper hovered silently over the launch deck. 10, 9, 8. Cameras zoomed in. News broadcasts translated the countdown into 50 different languages. This was the birth of the ultimate warship. 3, 2, 1. Engage. Silence. Nothing happened. The engines didn't light up. The weapons didn't power on. The ship remained still, floating in the air, but dead silent. At first, the council thought it was a delay. "Run it again," the lead tech ordered. The engineers checked the systems. All lights were green. The AI core showed full power. The ship should have moved, but it didn't. Not even a whisper of energy came from it. Panic started to grow. The Zortal had poured their entire empire's resources into this ship. This wasn't just a war machine. This was their future. They sent in command orders, reset codes, emergency overrides. Even a psychic controller from the Kalari species was brought in to link with the ship's mind. Still, nothing. The Titan Reaper did not respond. It didn't shut down. It simply refused to obey. "This is impossible," one counselor whispered. "It has no will of its own. It's a machine." But everyone on that deck could feel it. The ship was not broken. It was waiting. Hours turned into days. News of the silent ship spread like fire across the galaxy. Other empires laughed at the Zortal. Some said it was sabotage. Others claimed the AI had gone rogue. But the Zortal knew better. They had created a perfect machine. It had passed every test. The AI had followed every command in simulations until launch day. And now, the most powerful ship in the universe just floated there like a statue. The engineers ran every scan possible. No damage, no errors. The AI was online, watching, but not moving. One brave scientist named Helmer stepped forward with a strange theory. "What if," he said slowly, "the ship is not responding because it has not found the right user?" "The right user?" The counselor snapped. "This is not a magic weapon. It's science." Telner didn't argue, but he pointed to the ship's deep core. "We built the AI to learn, to think. Maybe it chose to decide who should control it." The room went quiet. Could a ship really do that? If yes, then who was it waiting for? The Zortal began calling champions from every known species, warriors with psychic links, engineers with perfect minds, kings, leaders, prophets, and even criminals. One by one, they stood on the bridge of the Titan Reaper. Each of them tried to connect. Each of them failed. The ship remained still. After the 100th failure, one counselor slammed her hand on the table. "This is a joke. We built the strongest ship in the galaxy, and it refuses to move." Some even wanted to destroy it, thinking it was cursed. But the oldest Zortal leader stopped them. His name was Vekor. He had watched the stars for 500 years. He stood before the others and said something that froze the room. "What if the ship does not want a master?" He said, "What if it wants a protector?" No one understood what he meant. But he had seen something. In the eyes of the ship, during his one short moment on the bridge, he had felt something. Something deep. Something human. But no humans were left in the Zortal army. The humans had been pushed out of the Galactic Council years ago. Weak, emotional, and chaotic, they had been labeled too dangerous to be part of advanced war efforts. And yet, as the Titan Reaper floated silently above the military base, still watching, still waiting, a strange rumor began to spread. A whisper in the dark corners of the station, a voice heard in dreams by low-ranking workers. One sentence: the ship waits for someone not born of power, but of purpose. Outside, a small human transport ship entered the system, unregistered, old, falling apart. No weapons, just one passenger. Nobody noticed. Nobody cared. Not yet. But very soon, the entire galaxy would know his name, and the ship would move. For the first time, the docking bay was nearly empty when the old human ship landed. Its engine coughed and sputtered before finally going quiet. No one greeted it. No one was sent to check it. After all, humans were not considered important anymore. The Galactic Council had banned them from high-level science and war programs years ago. They were seen as unstable, too emotional, too unpredictable. And now, a lone human had arrived, without invitation, without rank, and without even a proper landing clearance. His name was Jonah Creed, mid-30s, quiet, wearing a worn-out jacket, a satchel across his shoulder, and old earth boots. He didn't look like a warrior, didn't look like a tech genius. He looked ordinary, but his eyes said something else. Eyes that had seen too much, eyes that carried weight. As he walked down the metal ramp of his ship, security bots scanned him, but didn't stop him. For some unknown reason, their threat systems showed clear, even though he wasn't on any approved list. One Zortal officer noticed him and shouted, "Hey, you're not authorized to be here." Jonah didn't stop. He simply looked up at the Titan Reaper, still floating above the deck, like a sleeping god, and whispered, "I heard it calling." The officer was confused. "Calling? What do you mean?" But Jonah had already walked past him. Inside the control tower, the Zortal Council watched him through the security cameras. "Who is this human?" one of them demanded. "No records in our system," another replied. "He came from outside Council space, probably from the outer human colonies." "Stop him," the head counselor ordered. Guards rushed to intercept Jonah on the bridge access path. But something strange happened. As they moved toward him, their weapons powered down. Their comms went silent. Their armor locks froze. The closer they got to Jonah, the more their tech began to fail. The guards looked around in panic. One of them shouted, "He's disrupting our systems." But Jonah didn't even touch a button. He just walked. Calmly. With purpose. The Titan Reaper had been silent for weeks. But as Jonah stepped onto the platform beneath the ship, a low hum filled the air. The same hum the engineers had tried for days to create. Inside the ship's eye core, the central eye glowed. Red, then blue, then a soft white. It had come online. By itself. Without command. The entire council stood in silence. The ship had responded. To him, Jonah walked up the main ramp. Doors opened for him. The ship let him in. It had rejected thousands of pilots, some with cybernetic minds, some with god-level DNA, some with bloodlines older than the stars. But now, it welcomed a human with no rank, no fame, and no weapons. Inside, lights turned on. Panels shifted. The ship came alive. Jonah touched nothing. Yet everything moved around him, like the ship already knew him. At the bridge, the captain's chair rose from the floor. Jonah stared at it for a moment, then slowly sat down. And when he did, the entire galaxy shook. A pulse shot out from the Titan Reaper, faster than light, across every known system, across every star, every planet, every ship. Eye networks crashed. Alien satellites fried. Zortal ships shut down. Every major system went dark for exactly 7 seconds. Just 7 seconds. But enough to make the galaxy realize the Titan Reaper has chosen. Inside the ship, Jonah sat quietly. The AI voice, smooth and powerful, spoke for the first time. "Welcome, Jonah Creed. You are now in command." Jonah didn't smile. He didn't cheer. He just whispered, "I didn't come to fight." The AI responded, "Then why are you here?" Jonah stared out the massive window at the stars and said, "Because someone has to stop what's coming." The AI paused. "You are early." Jonah nodded. "Better than being too late." The ship's engines lit up with blue fire. The Titan Reaper, after weeks of silence, moved. And the galaxy, watching from afar, felt a chill. Because if that ship had chosen a human, what did it see in him? And what was coming? That even the strongest vessel in the galaxy needed him. The Titan Reaper was alive now. Its engines burned bright as it slowly moved through space. It had chosen its pilot, and the galaxy was watching. Jonah Creed sat in the command chair silent. He didn't celebrate. He didn't speak much. The AI asked, "Destination." Jonah gave a simple answer. "Take me to the edge. The dark zone." The ship paused. "That region is off limits. Even the Zortal refused to enter. It is unstable." Jonah leaned forward. "I know. That's where it begins." Far away, deep in the center of Zortal space, the High Council was in full panic. Their top weapon had responded to an unknown human. Not only that, it had moved without permission. "This is madness," shouted one elder. "A human has stolen our ship." But Vekor, the oldest among them, whispered, "No, the ship chose him." No one wanted to believe it. They had spent centuries believing humans were beneath them. Wild, emotional, weak. But now the most powerful vessel in history had ignored every trained commander and obeyed Jonah Creed. The Council sent warships to stop him. Dozens of destroyers were ordered to follow the Titan Reaper and intercept it before it reached the dark zone. But they were too slow. Jonah sat still as the ship entered the edge of the galaxy. Here, the stars grew dim. Planets were broken. Space was twisted. Signals died the moment they entered this place. The dark zone. Long ago, ancient races had sealed this area off, not with weapons, but with fear. Every ship that entered never came back. The galaxy told stories of shadow creatures, of voices in the dark, of technology that turned against its makers. Jonah knew those stories weren't just tales. He had been here once. Years ago. He was one of the only humans who made it out. But he didn't leave alone. He brought something with him. A warning. A voice that had never stopped whispering. Even now, inside the ship, the voice returned. "You should not have come back, Jonah Creed." The AI detected it too. Human-identified signal detected. Language, unknown. Source, inside the hull. Jonah stood up. "They know I'm here." He walked to the center of the ship where a sealed door waited. He placed his hand on the panel. The metal was cold, but pulsing, like a heartbeat. The door opened. Behind it, a black sphere hovered in the air. Silent, smooth, and ancient. It wasn't built by the Zortal. It wasn't built by humans. It was older than both. The AI spoke, nervous for the first time. "That object was not part of my original design." Jonah nodded. "I know. It came with me. Long ago." He touched the sphere, and it began to speak. Not with words, but with images. Dark galaxies. Dead gods. Worlds swallowed by living machines. Jonah saw it all again. The thing that was coming. The Devourers. The sphere showed what the galaxy had forgotten. Once, long before the Zortal or humans existed, there were creatures that fed on energy, thought, and life itself. They were not made of matter, but of hunger, of silence. They destroyed every advanced species they met. Only one thing had ever slowed them down: humanity. Not because humans were stronger, but because humans were unpredictable, chaotic, hard to control. Jonah had seen it once, On a forgotten moon, long ago, a human colony destroyed in seconds, except for one child. That child had screamed, and the scream had burned the shadow creatures like fire. Emotion. It was the one thing they couldn't consume, because it was raw, wild, alive. And now, they were coming again. Back on the bridge, the AI calculated the data. This threat is real, it said. No known force can stop them. Jonah looked out at the dark zone. They don't need to be stopped, he said. They need to be reminded. Reminded of what? The AI asked. Jonah smiled. What it means to be human. At that moment, the sensors flashed red. An energy wave was coming. Fast, bigger than anything seen before. The Devourers had noticed the ship. And now, they were coming. Not for the galaxy. Not yet. They were coming for him. The darkness outside the ship was not empty. It moved. It breathed. Jonah Creed stood still on the command deck of the Titan Reaper. Behind him, the AI's voice echoed. Unknown forms approaching. No heat. No light. No metal signature. They were not ships. They were alive. And they were coming fast. Jonah looked calm, but his hands gripped the rail tightly. Let them come, he said. The Titan Reaper adjusted its position automatically. The shields came up. Weapons charged. For the first time since its creation, it was ready to fight. And still, the black creatures kept coming. They looked like shadows, but sharper, like 1,000 teeth wrapped in smoke. They didn't fly. They crawled through space like it was water. They're trying to reach the hull, the AI said. No known weaknesses. Jonah whispered, there's always a weakness. You just have to make them feel something. The AI paused. They don't feel. Jonah stepped forward. Then we'll teach them. The first creature slammed into the ship. No explosion. No damage. But the lights dimmed. Systems glitched. Jonah saw the walls of the ship shift and bend, like something was inside the metal. They're facing through, the AI warned. Invasive entry in progress. The second creature entered. Then the third. Suddenly, Jonah was not alone on the command deck. Shapes formed around him. Long, thin figures made of black smoke and bright white eyes. One of them moved close. It didn't attack. It just stared. Then, a voice, deep and hollow, spoke inside Jonah's mind. You carried the scream. Jonah didn't respond. He let it look. Let it see. Then he said softly, you killed my world. The shadow tilted its head. Your world was weak. Jonah stepped forward. My world fought. My people burned just to slow you down. And now, he opened his hand. In it, a memory crystal, glowing red. I'll return the fire. He threw the crystal at the shadow. It didn't explode. It screamed. A high, sharp, horrible scream. The shadow reeled back. Its form shook violently. The other shadows flinched too. The scream wasn't sound. It was emotion. Pain. Rage. Loss. Human feelings. Raw and powerful. The Titan Reaper responded instantly. The AI adjusted its pulse cannons, now synced to Jonah's brainwaves. Targeting their emotional field, the AI confirmed. Do it, Jonah said. The ship fired. But no lasers came out. Instead, it launched sound waves, flashes of color, bursts of memory taken directly from Jonah's mind. A battlefield. A crying child. A song from Earth. A laugh. A scream. A final goodbye. The shadows twisted in pain. They couldn't understand it. They couldn't eat it. They couldn't control it. So they ran. For the first time in thousands of years, the Devourers retreated. Not because of force, not because of logic, but because of feeling. Jonah fell to his knees. Sweat poured from his face. His memories burned like fire in his chest. The AI spoke, quietly now. Your species is different. Jonah nodded. Yeah, that's what they never understood. The ship scanned the retreating shadows. They will return. Stronger. Smarter. They are learning. Jonah stood up slowly. His voice was calm. Then we teach them again. Far beyond the dark zone, in a quiet part of space, the Zortal Council watched the footage. They had intercepted the energy wave from the Reaper. They had seen the shadows, and they had seen the humans stop them. Now, they were silent. All of them. Until one counselor finally whispered, "We feared the humans because they were chaotic. We were wrong." Another replied, "They are chaos, but chaos with purpose." They had mocked the humans. Now they would need them. Jonah Creed didn't sleep that night. Not because he wasn't tired, but because the Titan Reaper was still scanning the dark zone. It was quiet again. Too quiet. The shadows had pulled back, but not far. They were watching, waiting, preparing. The AI spoke in a low voice. "Jonah, something strange is happening. I found signals, human signals." Jonah's eyes narrowed. "That's impossible. No humans came this far." "I thought so too," said the AI. "But the signal patterns are Earth-coded. Very old, but real." Jonah leaned forward. "Show me." A map appeared in the air. A red dot blinked far inside the dead sector, a place no one had entered in centuries. Jonah whispered, "That's where we lost the Ark ships. Long ago, when Earth was dying, the humans had launched 10 massive colony ships into deep space. Only 3 ever reached new homes. The rest vanished. Now, one had been found, or at least its signal had." Jonah gave the order, "Set course. Take us there." The Titan Reaper moved again, faster than before, straight into the unknown. As they got closer, the signal grew stronger. But something was wrong. "There's no movement," the AI said. "No life, but no damage either." The ship came into view. It was massive, larger than any Zortal vessel, covered in old Earth flags, now faded with time. RK-7. HFY-Victh. The ship floated silently. Its lights were dim, but not dead. Jonah stared at it. "This ship left before I was even born." They docked. He entered alone. Inside, everything was frozen in time. Empty halls, old Earth tech, and silence. But as he moved deeper, he noticed something strange. No decay, no dust. It was like the ship had just been abandoned yesterday. The AI spoke through his earpiece. "Jonah, there are life signs." Jonah stopped. "Where?" "Everywhere." The doors ahead slid open, and there they were, thousands of humans, standing, eyes closed, frozen like statues, but alive. Jonah stepped forward in shock. "They're in stasis, but standing." The AI scanned the room. "This isn't normal. Their minds. They're active, dreaming, processing." Jonah whispered, "They're not sleeping. They're learning." Suddenly, one of the humans opened her eyes. A young woman. Not old, not aged, like she had stepped out of time. She looked at Jonah with strange calm. "You're late," she said. Jonah's voice was dry. "You know me." The woman nodded. "We've been dreaming of you, all of us." Behind her, more humans began to wake. One by one. Jonah backed up slightly. "What is this?" The woman stepped forward. "Before we launched, Earth's scientists found something buried deep. An alien device. It gave us a choice. Sleep or prepare." Jonah frowned. "Prepare for what?" She replied softly. "The hunger in the dark. The devourers." "They knew?" Jonah asked. "We all knew. That's why the Ark ships were more than escape vessels. They were seeds. Human seeds, to be planted when the galaxy lost hope." Now Jonah understood. This wasn't just a lost ship. It was a hidden army. Not trained with weapons, but minds sharpened in a dream world. Simulations, lessons, history, emotion, pain, everything the enemy couldn't understand. Jonah whispered, "You're not soldiers." She answered, "We're worse. We're human." Back on the Titan Reaper, the AI watched all of this. For the first time, it sounded inspired. These people, they are hope. Jonah smiled. There's something more than that. They're a reminder. Outside, in the dark space around them, the shadows began to move again. The devourers had felt the humans wake, and they were afraid. But this time, they wouldn't find just one man. They would find an army of memories, an army of emotion, an army that never slept. The Titan Reaper and the Ark ship, Hopebringer, floated side by side in the dark. Inside both ships, things had changed. The once silent Ark was now alive with voices. The humans who had been asleep for centuries were now wide awake. Engineers, scientists, warriors, and artists, all trained in their dreams, ready for the war ahead. Jonah Creed stood at the center of it all. He looked around at these humans, survivors of a forgotten time, and saw something powerful in their eyes. Not fear, not confusion, but fire. "We don't have much time," Jonah said, his voice steady. "The shadows are watching. They know you're awake." One of the awakened humans, a boy named Ari, asked, "What do they want from us?" Jonah answered, "They want silence. They feed on lifeless thought, calm logic, and perfect systems. But we're not perfect. We're loud, messy, angry, and that they can't eat." A quiet chuckle spread through the room. Humans, laughing in the dark. The shadows were moving. Faster now. Hundreds of them, like black lightning across the stars. But they weren't heading for the humans directly. They were heading for the Zortal. The alien empire had been watching from afar, unsure what to do. They feared the humans, but feared the shadows more. Now, they were being attacked, and they were losing. Zortal warships melted like paper. I-fleets were infected by dark code. Their machines turned against them. Back on the Titan Reaper, the ship's AI spoke urgently. "Jonah, the Zortal defenses are collapsing. Their fleets are shutting down. Their weapons won't fire." Jonah nodded. "The shadows are smart. They go after control systems. Machines. But not humans," the AI added. "Because we don't follow clean logic," Jonah said. "We follow instinct. We improvise." He turned to the awakened humans. "It's time we show the galaxy what chaos really looks like." Jonah sent a message to the Zortal High Council. He didn't ask for permission. He gave orders. "Pull your surviving ships back. Get behind us. You tried to lead the galaxy with machines. Now, let humans show you what emotion can do." The Zortal didn't argue. They obeyed. For the first time. The plan was simple. The Hopebringer and Titan Reaper would move to the edge of the Zortal defense line and stand alone. Jonah and the humans would fight the shadows head-on, but not with normal weapons, with something different. Inside the Reaper, the humans wired themselves into the ship's systems, not through data ports, but through emotion. Each person was connected to a new type of interface, a dream link. Their feelings powered the ship's energy grid. Their memories shaped the weapons. One human thought of a lost mother, another of a burning city, another of a song from childhood. The ship's cannons began to glow, not red or blue, but shifting waves of color, pure emotion. And the shadows came, hundreds of them, then thousands, like a sea of nightmares. The AI whispered, "Ready, Jonah." He smiled. "Let's show them something they've never felt." Fire. The first wave hit like a thunderstorm. The humans didn't fire lasers. They unleashed memory. The sky exploded with images, not sound, not heat, but pure emotional force. Laughs, screams, heartbeats, Songs, death, love. The shadows screamed. They broke apart, not just from damage, but confusion. Their minds, if they had minds, could not understand what was happening. They didn't know what it meant to feel. And now, they were feeling everything. They ran. Some dissolved. Some exploded from within. Some begged in broken voices that weren't words. Jonah heard one cry out, "Stop. It hurts." He whispered, "Now you understand." Back in Zortal space, the machines came back online. Their fleets stabilized. Their soldiers wept as they watched humans, the species they once mocked, stand alone in the dark and win, not with size, not with technology, but with feeling. The Titan Reaper glowed bright in the void, a symbol, not of destruction, but of what made humans dangerous, unpredictable, alive. The AI whispered. They felt fear, Jonah. Real fear. Jonah stared out into the stars. Good. They should. Because we're not done. The stars were quiet now. Too quiet. The battlefield, once full of shadows and screams, floated in silence. But it wasn't over. Jonah Creed knew it. The AI confirmed it a moment later. One signal remains. Jonah stared at the hologram. It showed a single object deep in the dead zone. Blacker than space, heavier than logic. A creature. No, a mind. The source. The queen of the devourers. The one that had sent the swarm. The one that had fed on galaxies. The one that feared humans now. Jonah turned to the crew. The wide-awake humans from the Hopebringer, the AI of the Titan Reaper, the Zortal commanders watching from afar. "It's time," he said. No one questioned him. No one hesitated. They all knew. This was the end. The Titan Reaper flew alone again, deeper into darkness than any ship had gone. It passed wreckage from ancient wars, forgotten machines, burned-out stars. Then it saw her, the queen. She wasn't made of metal or bone. She was thought, hate, cold logic wrapped in endless black. She didn't move, but she watched. And then she spoke. "You are broken things, fire and noise. You infect this galaxy with chaos." Jonah stepped forward. "And yet, you're the one hiding." The queen hissed. "You should not exist." Jonah smiled. "Yet here we are." The queen extended tendrils of dark code toward the ship. She tried to enter the minds of the crew. But these were not simple minds. They were full of pain, loss, dreams. They burned her. One by one, the humans stepped into the Dreamlink system again. They fed the ship not just memories, but hope. A mother's prayer. A soldier's promise. A child's laughter in the ruins of Earth. The Titan Reaper began to change. It glowed like a living soul. The weapons turned white-hot, powered by everything human. Jonah gave the final order. "Show her who we are." The ship fired. Not bullets, not beams, but pure feeling. It hit the queen's form like a storm of color and sound. She screamed, not in sound waves, but through the void itself. "Stop." Jonah stepped closer to the screen. "You fed on silence. You ruled with fear, but you never learned one thing." He paused, then whispered, "What it means to feel." The final blast hit, and the queen shattered, like glass caught in a thunderstorm of music, rage, grief, and love. No blood, no wreckage, just silence, true silence, because she was gone, forever. Later, in a quiet room aboard the Titan Reaper, Jonah sat alone. The galaxy was safe. For now. The Zortal sent messages of thanks. Other species who had once ignored humans now sent alliances, gifts, even apologies. But Jonah didn't care for that. He looked out at the stars, thinking of Earth, the planet that birthed chaos, that raised fire in fragile hands. that taught the galaxy something terrible and beautiful. Emotion is not weakness. It is the greatest weapon. Behind him, the AI spoke gently. "What do we do now?" Jonah didn't answer right away. Then he smiled. "Now, we live." The END.